Hello everyone, I'm RobtheMod. Welcome to part 61 of Gran Turismo 7 on the PlayStation 5. And yeah, we're of course doing our weekly challenges again. No wheel, yet again. The reason being, as I've said, I need to get used to it, and I haven't uh, really. We're starting with the Sunday Cup car. Uh, let's do it based on performance points. Let's get this out of the way. And just we'll go for the Veyron. Why the hell not? Because we haven't touched the Veyron, I don't think. Yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save the wheel to in a couple of weeks. Basically, all the videos that came out on the channel before are gonna be completely finished with. Right, so once that happens, I think that's when I'm gonna start using the wheel. If you didn't know, there's a bunch of content comes up in the community. I mention this pretty much every week, I think, but yeah, basically there's a bunch of content that comes up in the going first person. Why the hell not? A bunch of content that comes up in the subscription in the community tab, I should say, on the channel, where it's stuff that I schedule because it was originally on the channel, but if you reschedule the video, it will never show up in subscriptions again. It would show up in subscriptions if I deleted it and made it available again, like and re-uploaded it. But I don't really want to risk the wrath of YouTube by doing that, which is why I never did it. I just reschedule them, and they just show up in the community tab. So basically, in a couple of weeks' time, if you're watching this and you're like, "Oh, what other games does he do?" You're gonna find out because basically, you're gonna get the absolutely bizarre situation of. In fact, I'll be able to tell you in a second because I got my schedule up. So I could find out what episode number this was. I'll be able to tell you exactly. I know Doom is one of them. You're gonna start with like the second episode of Doom because that was a very awkward situation. I finished Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite's one of the games that's on, that's it's on the community tab right now, right? And I should have actually checked the thing. What the prizes were. I love how I got a 6-star engine roulette ticket. I know it's parts ticket, but for completing the first race of the game. Right, Japanese Club and Cup for 550, special event with Lamborghini Gallardo, American Syndicate 600, World Touring Car 900. We need a Japanese car. Let's just pick. It's this car actually. I think it's the stealth edition of this. Right. Anyway, let me tell you what the games are that you're just going to get randomly in the middle of the Let's Play, because that's just going to be the way that it's going to work, unfortunately. There's Halo Infinite. Right, because what happened is I kind of got a little bit... I did like a achievement guide, and for whatever reason, at that point, I was kind of like, I don't really want to do this. Like, I want to take a break from this. But for some reason, I was like, I'm going to make all the videos private. And that's what I did. But I should have done it before the first episode of Doom came out, because I came out with the first episode of Doom, and then it was literally just like the next morning. I was like, nah, screw this, and I just did it. Which was a stupid idea, but that's what I did. Anyway, so yeah, we've got Doom, we've got Ratchet and Clank Gun Commando, we've got Grand Theft Auto 4, God of War, Need for Speed Carbon, Galgun Double Piece, Forza Horizon 5. Those are the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas as well. Yeah, those are the games that are getting covered. And of course, you've also got Gran Turismo 7 as we're doing right now. And we've also got Sackboy, A Big Adventure. So, yeah, lot of content on the channel. So if you like racing games, at least you've got Need for Speed Carbon to enjoy as well. I know it's a different game than this, but it works, I think a lot of people, even if they are a Gran Turismo fan, did get started in racing games in PS2 era with those Need for Speed games. Even though that's a Xbox 360 version of the game, but like that era, of Need for Speed. I think a lot, because those were like some of the best-selling Need for Speed titles. So I think there will be a lot of Gran Turismo fans, of you guys out there that at least have played those. And of course, the one that I'm doing actually all the Need for Speeds in order. And then I'm going to go back to like the PS1 ones, but like PS2 ones. So I started with Most Wanted 2005, which was on the 360 because it was a launch title for the 360. I was like, that's a perfect, because it's also one. That's also like one of my favorite racing games. I think it's my favorite Need for Speed. Granted, I haven't played any of the new ones, but what I hear, the new ones aren't that great. But still, I'll give them a shot. Anyway, yeah. So I was like, I want to start with a game that I really like. You know, when I'm starting my YouTube channel, because I was doing Gran Turismo 6, which I liked. Well, I should say when I started my YouTube channel. This is my YouTube channel now. It wasn't when I started. I've explained this before as well, but like, this was a group channel. We were called the Insane Gamers, and the only ones you can find on the channel now that aren't by me are Reedy's videos, which was Watch Dogs and Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Speaking of which, by the way, I mean, well, I would have announced it, but then I realized it's kind of a stupid idea because it's going to be like a couple of years from now. Because the way I've got things recorded as well, it's like I'm 2 years ahead, right? So by the time you see this, I'll be in like February 2027. That's how far ahead I got things scheduled, right? But I come back to do these because obviously, while the game is kind of, I mean, even these are like 6 months out of date for you guys, right? So, but yeah, I've just always liked to have like a backlog of videos, because that was the other thing as well. Like when I ended the channel, or when I should say I made everything private on the channel, I was like, I'm not doing it. The reason being, by the way, and I know it's still the case, but I kind of come to terms with it, and that was the reason, right? Is that I had, what was it? I was only getting like 10 views a video, which is probably about what I get now anyway still, but like I was getting like 10 views a video, and I was like, I can't be bothered doing it. I'm putting in all this effort for what reason? Right? But I had another channel that I kind of created like years and years ago, and I kind of forgot about it, to be honest. Right, but I had this channel, and it had like 10,000 subscribers. It just had like a meme video on it. I was like, why the hell? Why don't I just make everything, like, why don't I just make everything private on that channel? And, you know, I'll make everything private on that channel, and it'll just, on this channel, I should say, and I'll move all the content over there. And it worked for a bit, you know, the videos, I mean, some of the videos were getting like over 1,000 views, which, you know, for me is quite good. And, you know, that, basically, yeah, but the reason I came back was, well, I shouldn't really say this. Right, are we actually gonna get up to like first? That would be very helpful. I mean, we've got 2 more laps and we're in 4th, so it's all right. Come on. I'm going to go out of first person as well. Get a nice little shot of this car, because it is obviously, it was in Most Wanted. I enjoyed the Gallardo. Not this particular model, because it's not 2008 model. It's a facelift, unfortunately. But yeah, it's still quite a nice car. Do you mind? And eventually we're going to take on this guy. Now, I didn't know this at the time when they put this car in the game. Because I've not actually seen it. But this car up here is this is the villain from the Gran Turismo movie. Car is. He drove a Gallardo. Looked like this. Not the same sponsors. Because obviously in the actual movie they could use certain brands that they can't use in the game without licensing them. But yeah, it was that color car, and yeah, and in fact, the guy that's driving it. Oh yeah, N Kappa. That's the guy that's in the name of the guy in the movie. That's. I only found that out from the subreddit when someone pointed it out. They were like, "Oh, this is actually the guy." I mean, they were like, "I wonder how many people are not going to actually notice that," is what they said, which was kind of funny because I didn't know, you know. Yeah, it's a license, so I'm going to knock him out of the way and make him go into the grass. Oh yeah, as if you're actually going to be able to out-accelerate me on the grass. Come on. Out the way. And I'll be honest, I might actually... Because obviously this game has a livery editor and stuff. I'm sure someone's made that for the actual, like, you know, your car. So I might actually do that. Might buy that livery. Last lap now. On turn. Turn. There we go. Well, we're only 2 seconds ahead, unfortunately. Well, I think it's because this car's stock. Oh, God. I hit the wall. Don't think we're going to get our clean race bonus now. And turn. There we go. I thought that was the finish line then for a second. I was going to do a victory, you know, spin. And I was like, oh shit, no. That's not going to work. Oh, we've got a credit ticket. What's the other prize then? What is the other prize? Because I need to know. I mean, I think it's going to be another credit ticket. And it's a 6-star roulette ticket for a car. Interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. We need a road car from the United States. I think we used this last time. Why don't we just use it again? 3 laps on Blue Moon Bay Speedway. He's gone a bit cold, unfortunately. And I believe this car doesn't... Yeah, it doesn't have an interior view. We're off the track there, technically. GLP GT 350. Okay. I actually said recently on the on GT Planet, and people will say, "Don't you ever say that to Polyphony?" Because they probably will. Well, obviously, previous Gran Turismo there was a lot of duplicate cars, and I always kind of had the like, why is there not a because with the legend car thing now, I was looking it up. The only reason that's why I think it should be in the legend car dealership is because of the price. But like, why am I? What the hell was happening there? I was pressing the throttle down all the way, and it just wasn't going. Certainly wasn't like putting the course for us, eh? So weird. It was like the controller had disconnected. But anyway, yeah. So like the Shelby GT 350. There was a rental car version for Hertz, the 350H. It's literally the exact same car, right? Apart from the fact that they put a technically it wasn't, right? They put slightly different parts on. I'm not sure. Like, it's a bit confusing because there's some saying that there was slightly different parts and some saying there was. But it just kind of, I said on the car wish list thread, I was like, well, because someone basically asked for a whole bunch of Mustangs, right? They're like, and when I'm on about like they were asking for a whole bunch of Mustangs, I literally mean like it wasn't just like, oh, because here's the thing, right? The Corvettes as well, right? So there's a C1, C2, C3, C4, and then there's also the C6 and the C7. I'm not sure if the C8 is in the game. I need to check. But like, there isn't a C5, right? So lots of people are asking for the C5 to complete basically the set, right? Especially considering previous Gran Turismos have had the C5. Well, like, it's happening again. It's like the ABS is on. I don't know what's causing it. Because I'm not. It's like if I'm doing that, but I'm not actually holding the trigger. It's bizarre. Anyway, I got a ghost playing the game. But anyway, yeah. So like, this guy was asking for all these asking for all these Mustangs, and when I'm on about he's asking for all these Mustangs, I literally mean like he was asking for like a 98, a 99, a 2000, right? Granted, different trim levels, but like they were effectively the same car, right? And I kind of made the joke of, careful. While you're asking for Mustangs, you may as well also, while you're asking for all these different Mustangs, you may as well ask them to add the GT 350H in the Legends car dealership. And yeah, and that was basically that. It's not a very funny story, to be honest, but like, it's just the fact that would totally be something that like Polyphony would add. It would totally add a car that is effectively exactly the same, just a slightly different, not even trim. Basically, it was colors. My knowledge, it was like they did something called the Rent a Racer program with Hertz. But I think I used this, didn't I? My previous ones were these. What on? Come on. Great, I've been playing this. Before I started. Race shop. Still gonna have racing tires on. I mean, I'm going to be honest, that might be completely pointless. But I'm doing it anyway, because, like, why the hell not? You know? There's no risk in me not using wet tires if it ends up raining. Do need to keep an eye on the fuel and tire wear, obviously, and the weather radar. But yeah, it does rain here in the World Touring Car. Why can I not overtake you? You're a bloody NSX. It does rain here in the World Touring Car 700, so I'm thinking it probably would in the 900 as well. I got a warning for ignoring the track limit. So be it. We're going to reach 200 mile an hour before we have to brake. Nope. Car has no engine sound at all. I'm going to pit in at lap 5. Then, I guess. Why does it have no engine sound at all? The GT1 certainly does. Out of the way. I mean, I think it's because this is an electric car. That makes sense, actually, now that I think about it. But, like... they made these things electric? Come on. But... also, by this point in the World Touring Car 700, I've overtook everyone. Typically. I'll be forced to decelerate at the next penalty line? Well, that's a shame, isn't it? I'm not going to be able to do what I was planning to do, which was effectively get up to where they are and then, like, kind of slow the rest of them down by being in front of them. But, oh well, okay. A lot of these look the same from the back, probably because they are. Yep, 2 CLKs. God, didn't intend to, like, do that maneuver, but it worked. I got, like, a slingshot maneuver from the, this feels so weird to be going so fast around these corners, by the way. So I'm so used to doing these corners, like, still like over 100 mile an hour, but like not this fast. This car has a much faster sense of speed, because it is faster, obviously. And 10th, come on. We can make it. This time we don't want to get the bullshit of cutting the corner. I know we did, but come on. I got it again, but that was on a different corner. Yeah, I just bought the tyres, and I think that might be completely pointless, because... this corner, anyway, wasn't it? Out the way, McLaren F1. Just as soon as we accelerate, we have the huge speed advantage. The rest of them already gone around the corner. Or around the chicane, I should say. Yeah, if I can get in front of some of them. I don't know if we're going to have weather in this one, to be honest. I also think it's kind of weird that they still made the NSX in '08 for racing, but they stopped selling it in, like, what, 2004, I think? Like, the production car. Bit weird. Stay here, and I'm going to block the guy in. Any penalty? Not that it mattered. Because the penalty's so, like, short in this race that I just have the acceleration immediately afterwards. Not that I'm asking for more. Like the penalties to be longer, that'd be terrible. Yeah, I don't think weather-wise we've got the issue of rain. You never know. That was definitely a cut of that corner. Okay. It was a cut, but it didn't count. Bizarre. And, like, I don't understand Gran Turismo's cutting sometimes. Like, how was what I did there any different than the last lap where I cut that corner? Someone wants to explain that to me, please do. I'm probably going to get it there. Be surprised if I don't. Yep! I knew it as soon as I did it, but it's the only way to carry speed through that corner. We're in first now. What we want. I'm going to pit the end of lap 5. At least that's my goal to do that. We'll have to swap tyres. Even though it's kind of pointless. Because if it rains, we'll have to go into the pits again. I don't know why I haven't done this race beforehand, to be honest. Because I think it's because, you know, the World Touring Car 700. It's 30 minutes as opposed to a lap-based thing here. You actually only, and in those 30 minutes, you actually only do 6 laps, 7, technically. Depends on if it rains or not. Because if it rains super heavy, what I do is, like, I've noticed, like, I can build up a lead if it rains super heavy. Like, the AI won't pit to put, like, if you pit just as it starts raining sometimes, and you put on, like, intermediate or wet tires, right? I want to do one clean lap. just to see how, well, just to do it. Because I've done it on World Touring Car 700. But, yeah, anyway, right. Oh, that was a drift as well there. Oh, it was an overcorrection at least. Isn't that technically what a drift is? You're just able to control the overcorrection. Anyway, yeah, so like I'm able to do like just 6 laps because there's the simple way of you like if it rains, the AI will drive past the pits half the time. So a lot of them will spin out because they don't have the right tires. They only have racing tires as opposed to wet tires, which lets you build up an absolutely massive lead. And you can kind of use that to your advantage because then, you know, if you're on the last lap and you notice that like the AI is like, let's say 2 minutes 40 seconds behind, but the amount of time left on the clock before 30 minutes is 1 minute 30, right? And you know that a lap takes about 4 minutes in a, you know, in those cars you can see it's about 3 minutes 41. So it's probably actually about 4.5 minutes to do it in a 700, in a World Touring Car 700 car. So yeah, if you know that, you can just basically stop before the start finish line, not even have to do the 7th lap. You can literally just wait for the clock to get to 30 minutes and just drive over and basically complete it 30 minutes and like 2 seconds or whatever. And it makes it very easy to grind for credits if you do it that way. In fact, I'm probably going to have to use that method because I'm getting all the cars. I don't know if you've noticed, but like I'm trying to get all the cars in order, right? And at the moment, because I only have 1 car to get in Brand Central, not in Brand Central, in used car dealership. Because that's what I started with. I started with the cars in the used car dealership. Basically, any car that's under 1 million credits, or roughly about 2 to 3 million credits, I would say, in the Legends car dealership, I will go for if it interests me. And then the cars in Brand Central I'm going to get in order. But what I was waiting for is I was waiting for the Abarth in the Legend car dealership to show up, because that's the first car on the list, like alphabetically. So I was like, if I wait for that, that's when I'm officially starting it. And the Abarth came up yesterday. That's why you might have noticed it in my garage. So yeah, basically I'm starting to try and get every single car in the game now, which is a lot of credits. Because unfortunately, the next car that I have to get, because I've bought all the alphas that I need to get until this, like, there's 2 more alphas that show up in the Legend car dealership. One's about 3.8 million credits, fine, whatever. I can very easily grind the credits for that. The other one is 20 million. So I'm kind of going to have to be in the thing where I'm going to have to be grinding credits to get the 20 million. And then the 3.8 million. Because the thing is with the Legend car dealership, they don't show up in order. They show up at random. So I'm basically going to do a thing where I'm going to effectively get all those credits saved up. Ready. Just have them in the bank. And then when those cars show up, then that's when I'll spend them. And I'll just buy you know, basically have those credits saved up and then continue buying the cars in Brand Central in order. If that makes any sense. And then next time I get to a car that shows up in in the Legend car dealership, that's when I'll start saving for that one. That's going to be the way that I'm going to do it. Which is going to be annoying. I need to get 20 million credits. And there's a whole bunch of cars at 20 million credits. Okay, this is the lap that we're going to do the pit on. We'll definitely need to, because we've got 1.3 laps remaining now. We will definitely need to do that. And the tyres actually are about halfway done. How's the weather looking? I don't think it's going to rain on this one. Oh, some of the cars are pitting. Ready? Interesting. There's actually a McDonald's over here somewhere. It's not actually modelled. It is modelled in Forza. It was modelled in like Forza 3 and 4, at least. Which I thought was quite funny. There was just a giant McDonald's, like, you know, on the signs with the M's on it. There, and it was just like, okay. Because it's saying real life. But I guess Gran Turismo don't want to pay McDonald's to license it or whatever. But Microsoft did. There's also something else I was going to talk about, but, you know, I'll probably talk about it in next week's episode as well at the start, so apologies if I repeat myself, but they've just kind of, we'll see if I remember, but they've just kind of like announced a new Gran Turismo, but it's not Gran Turismo 8, right? And by the time you guys see this, I'll have played it anyway, and the reason being is... And it kind of shows that Polyphony are going to keep updating this game, and they're not just going to, like, they probably are working on Gran Turismo 8, but they're also kind of using it as, like, they're going to use this as, like, an idea, like, the way of pointing out that, yeah, we're still going to continue to update Gran Turismo 7. We're not fully committed to Gran Turismo 8 yet, basically. And what I mean by that is... they've announced kind of a free demo version of Gran Turismo 7 for the PlayStation 30th anniversary event, which is in December 2024. And it's called My First Gran Turismo. And it's effectively... there's no details for it at the moment, but from what people can work out, based on the name, it seems like it's probably going to be a... kind of like a version of Gran Turismo 1, which makes sense for the, 30th anniversary of PlayStation. So, what it's probably going to be like, though, is it's probably going to be like, because the idea that basically they're saying it's Gran Turismo 7 cars and tracks and stuff, but it's going to be, they haven't said if it's going to have some new stuff, but obviously the idea is that it's coming out as like a free demo version of the game to sell people on Gran Turismo 7. But it's not called Gran Turismo 7 demo version. So it's technically being treated as a separate game, and it's probably going to be like Gran Turismo HD Concept, which, if you're unaware of what that was, it was where they took, it was on the, like, PS3. It was not really a launch title, but it kind of was. It was very close to launch, basically. Obviously, you had Gran Turismo 4, and Kaz at the time. If you don't know who Kaz is, he's the guy that, you know, the head designer of Gran Turismo. He basically had this big promise of, oh, we're going to come out and we're going to have Gran Turismo 4 in HD on the PS3 at the time. And then he probably realized, oh, that's actually going to be kind of impossible. Because obviously, you think of the PS2 era, it's not like, you know, graphic. I mean, PS3 era, I think if the games were still coming out thick and fast, to be honest. Maybe not Gran Turismo, but like a lot of games, right, came out as from studios. You know, you think. I mean, I know it happens still now, but you think of how many Assassin's Creeds and Need for Speed games, for example, as I mentioned earlier. I mean, I know Call of Duty still every year, but you know, like think of how many games came out on the 360 PS3 era. Like, I'm sure a lot come out on PS5, Xbox Series X still, but it just feels like there's a lot less AAA games these days. Because there's always the joke, oh, you know, you got a PS5, where are the games? Well, you know, basically what I'm saying is PS2 era, early Xbox 360, PS3 era, game development was a lot cheaper, right? Well, I'm thinking of like Insomniac, PS2 era, right? Okay, and like, well, Naughty Dog, right? So you have, what is it? Let's go over the games that Insomniac made in those in the PS2 and PS3 era, right? Okay, so you had Ratchet & Clank 1, 2002. You had Going Commando in 2003, and then Up Your Arsenal in 2004. 2005, then you had Deadlocked, right? And those were all PS2 games. Then on PS3, you had Resistance: Fall of Man, Ratchet & Clank Tools of Destruction, Resistance 2, Ratchet & Clank Quest for Booty, which admittedly was quite a small game. It was like a PSN title originally, but you know, still a game. And then you had Crack in Time, Resistance 3. Then you also had people forget this. There was another game called Fuse or something like that. That they came out with. It was published by EA, I believe. A lot of people don't really know about it. And then also they had Into the Nexus. Or if we think of Naughty Dog, right? You know, you had 3 Uncharted games. And Last of Us. What have we really had from Naughty Dog since? We've had, what? Uncharted 4. And, like, the little DLC game expansion thing that came out. And Last of Us Part 2. And then they remastered Last of Us Part 1 twice. And then they were working on a live service Last of Us game that got cancelled. You know, it's kind of like... I mean, at least Insomniac is still, well, kind of living up to their name of being Insomniacs with a bunch of brand... You know, if I call... Yes, I'm going to lap this guy. Oh, God. Yeah, but they're kind of catching up with the name. Because, you know, PS4 era, admittedly, you had, what? Sunset Overdrive on the Xbox One, which was an Xbox exclusive. Why'd you try and block me, man? You stupid idiot. But then, you also, to be fair, you had Spider-Man. You had Ratchet & Clank 2016. You had Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which is a PS5 game, and then you have Spider-Man Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2. But still, that's not even as many as, like, you know, what they had in the PS2, PS3 era. And to be fair, a lot of those games in the PS3 era particularly are not I mean, they're good, but like a lot of them are kind of like they openly admit, you know, the PS3 was a lot harder to develop for than the PS2, and the games aren't as good as the like PS2 era ones because like we were really stretched thin. We overshot ourselves on what we thought we could do in the amount of time that we had with the because of the level of detail that the PS3 had, and it kind of has this issue, right? It's also a thing in like movies. I notice a lot of people complain in movies and TV. You know, in regards to streaming services and all that, it's a bit weird in the fact that like it just seems we've reached a point where like the media seems to take so long to create that by the time by the time we get a sequel or something, it's like it's too long. My eye is watering up. Sorry, that's why I was trying to do that. Why it was blinking. Right, let's carry on. That happens when I'm playing this. I don't know if you've noticed, but yeah, I noticed it kind of being a thing that people have talked about in regards to movies and stuff, is that and TV shows. They're like, in particular, House of the Dragon, right? I'm gonna be honest. I've never actually watched Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, but my understanding is that like it's 8 episodes in the second series or something, the second season, right? But it came out like 3 years after the first, and this seems to be like a thing with streaming shows in particular. When the entire point of it being called a season is that it would happen every year. And it would last an entire season. And being British, we never used season, we used the word series for that particular reason. But it is just kind of a weird situation where a lot of shows, you know, you think of like the big network, you know, NBC, ABC, CBS, you know, you think of the big network shows, right? You know, your CSIs and stuff. And I know CSI, you know, like, well, let's think of like an old one, 24, right? Okay, so 24 episodes in a season because each one is an hour and it's supposed to be real time. If you're making 24 today, it'd be 6 episodes. And maybe that'd be better. It'd be worse. But then, like, you know, it'd do well, but then it'd take 3 years for season 2 to come out. Whereas it would come out when it was on Fox back in the day. It would be every year. There's actually people complaining about South Park because of this as well. And I remember this. South Park, it would be produced, you know, it would be very topical-ish. You know, mostly. And it would be like... But, you know, I've lost my train of thought there. Hang on, let me try and get it back. Yeah, so South Park, you know, it'd be very, very topical. And you'd... You know, I can't remember how many episodes there was in the season. Was it like 20 or something? There was more than 10, right? But basically, these days, you get a couple on... And this is, to be fair, this is the problem with both Paramount and like the way it's produced now. So, like, it's produced for Comedy Central. Or it was produced for Comedy Central. But then the streaming rights to the show were... And I believe Comedy Central is owned by Paramount. I think it is. But, like, the streaming rights to the show weren't bought by Paramount because they were owned by Matt and Trey by themselves. So they sold them to Max. Or HBO Max, I should say. So, but then Paramount was like, well, we technically own the movie rights to South Park, because they did. If you weren't aware, back in the early days, Comedy Central, I believe Comedy Central in the early days was owned by both Warner Bros. And Paramount, and then Warner divested from it, funnily enough. Right? But the first movie, it was released by Paramount in the US, but Warner Bros. Internationally. Because that was the deal. They were like, oh, well, this, we share Comedy Central, so we're sharing the movie. And then that part of the deal when Warner went out was that they weren't going to make, they would, when they were leaving Comedy Central, they wouldn't have the right to make South Park movies. Well, that was part of the deal, right? So this is part of the issue with South Park now, and it has been a very long time, admittedly, since I've watched it. But like, there's a lot of people complaining that you get like 6 episodes that are like not topical anymore on Comedy Central and on HBO Max or Max, whatever you want to call it. But then because Paramount has the movie rights, they wanted to go around the streaming issue. So what they instead did is they commissioned South Park to make a bunch of movies. And so you'd think, well, that's great. You get a lot more content. But the problem there is that the movies take so long to make, because they have to be long and they obviously have to have a coherent narrative, that it kind of ruins the actual show itself, because you're not getting as many episodes of the show. And they're so spread apart. So I can understand why a lot of South Park fans are complaining about that, and that, why they're complaining about, like, why people are complaining about House of the Dragon, all these other various streaming shows. Is the fact that, I know there's a reason for that. There was like COVID, and then there was the writers' strike and all that. But at the same time, yeah, it's just kind of, it just seems to be like media is taking a long time to get made these days. Like, you have it with movies as well. Like, they'll announce a movie and then it'll come out like a year or two later. Obviously, like I said, it's happening with TV shows, and it's happening with games as well. We're like, when's the next Naughty Dog game? I'm sure they're working on Last of Us Part 3, but is it going to come out before the PS4 or PS5 is finished? Like, are we going to have the next generation of console before it comes out? Because it's going to take... This is the issue that in regards to games. Got a bunch of people saying, well, why can't Gran Turismo 7 just have kept the PS3 models? And have all of them. But, like, upgrade all the PS2 ones to premium cars. And the reason being, like, effectively, it's, why do we need 4K? And it's a point that I partly agree with. Yeah? Like, people look back at the PS3 and Xbox 360 era, and they go... Because a lot of the games are running at 720p or 1080p. And they look at them and they go, they don't look great these days. Yeah, if you look at... And granted, you'll have to just trust me on this, but if you look at some of my content later on, when it comes out, of PS3 games, yes, some of them don't look good, but some of them still do look good. Right? And in fact, I would argue, if you look back at Gran Turismo 6, like if you look at the live stream episode, the part 1 or 2, the last one, right? Granted, it's only in first person, Like, it's this view, right? But I would argue that Gran Turismo 6 still looks passable. It looks decent. It's not like a PS1 or PS2 game where you can see the... I mean, you can see the jagged edges and stuff occasionally, but, like, it's not... But that was also an issue with Gran Turismo 6 on the PS3 in general. It was just, like, it had a lot of screen tearing. So, you know, but the PS5 version, if you ran Gran Turismo 6 on a PS5, you wouldn't get screen tearing. Guarantee that. It was just... It was too ambitious for the console. But if you kept the graphics quality at the same for Gran Turismo and for Gran Turismo 6 and 7, right? But you just added more cars, you know, the cars that came out over the years, some historical models, replaced all the, and I know there was a lot of them, but replaced all the standard cars with premium models. You know, why wouldn't that? Just makes a lot more sense to me than... You'd be able to get a lot more games out a lot more quickly if games still looked like the S3 and Xbox 360 game. But everyone wants 4K, specifically PC, you know, because PC constantly advances. People want, like, to run... Like, if you look back at... what I should say is, like, Crysis, right? Okay, so Crysis was the PC killer back in the day, right? When it came out in 2007, right? It was basically like, everyone was like, if your PC can run Crysis, it's insanely good. Right? Well, yeah, so people were like, if your PC can run Crysis, it's amazingly good. You look at Crysis now, it still looks decent. Like, do we need games to look like this? People would say yes. Some of you would absolutely say yes. But I think a lot of people would also just still be happy if games look like Crysis, if they look like Gran Turismo 6, you know. I mean, you see it, like... You see it was... and I know this is a stupid example, but you see it with Minecraft. Like, graphics don't always make the game. Right? If a game is fun to play, and Gran Turismo is certainly fun to play, right? Like, actually, the driving model and all that, right? It doesn't need to look amazing. It's the gameplay that matters, in my opinion. Okay, we've got the 6-star roulette ticket. Oh, one other thing I'm going to say, I should have said this at the start, is oh, I don't want to do a replay. But I did also complete a menu book, so I'm going to add that to the end of the episode. But what we're going to do first is we're going to get these roulette tickets and maybe buy that car. I certainly have enough money for it, so yeah. 3-star roulette ticket for completing the marathon. What we're going to get. Lowest amount of money, obviously. Obviously. What's that? 5,000 credits? Great. Okay. Take the credits from that. Take the roulette ticket for parts, even though I'm not even really bothered, but we'll take it. Hate the fact that you can't sell parts. It's so useful if you could. But of course that would give you a lot of money, wouldn't it? Oh, wow. Oh, wow. A carbon propeller shaft for a Subaru BRZ 21. Recommended retail price. 4,500 credits. It's a 6-star ticket. Then watch what we get here. I already have that, actually. I think. Yeah, I already have the Audi Vision Gran Turismo. I think I actually got it in one of these. What's the value of it? 1 million credits. Well, it's not going to be worth that at the thing. in the used car dealership, but we're gonna sell it. We're gonna get a few credits at least from it. Let's do it by manufacturer. Do I already have it? Yes. Oh, it's gone up. May as well sell the old one then. Of course, it has gone down in price, but it is going up. So it's going. So I will sell it for 500,000 credits. Why the hell not? I don't need a second one. What's the most valuable car I have? A Ferrari F50. That makes sense. Why couldn't I have got another one of those? Because it's a legend car, that's why. Right, let's get this. By the way, you'll notice that this doesn't have a acquired symbol. I have actually acquired it. It's because it's a special car. There's another one like that that I have. It's the Gran Turismo, the Red Bull car, the 25th anniversary version. That doesn't show acquired, and then there was also a pre-order bonus car that the same. Right, so we got that. I didn't even see what car it was, but I'll add it to Kudos Prime on the thing. Oh, we completed another menu book actually. So let's do that. Figure out which one we completed, and I'll add that, and then I'll show you the other menu book that I completed. This Skyline one. So yeah, I've been RobtheMod. Thanks for watching part 61 of Gran Turismo 7 on the PlayStation 5, and I hope to see you next time for more. Ta-ra!